Just about ready to go here, everybody. Scientists have found a hot spot on the moon's far side. What is it? According to Business Insider, Gen Z is headed for a career calamity. Threads users are already spending less time in the app. And Elon Musk is rooting for safe super intelligence at startup XAI. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio. I want to welcome you to episode 1681 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, July 17th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. We are lit and we are live with apps from podcastapps.com. Join the value for value revolution by getting over there and grabbing you one of those modern podcast apps. Hey, we want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Make sure you follow or subscribe to the podcast. You'll find that in the right-hand column of the website. Of course, we want you to sign up for the newsletter while you're there as well and partake in our great content. You can join our chat room at geeknews.chat. That's a Mastodon chat server. Get over there and get on it. Or you can join our Discord channel. You can contact me via email, geeknews@gmail.com or at geeknews on Twitter. And of course, I am at geeknews at geeknews.chat on Mastodon. You can follow me on Facebook just by searching for my name. And of course, all the shows here, all our partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. That includes the new media show, the Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, the GNC Week in Review with our executive producer, Kirk, and his co-host, Scott. Definitely check those shows out. Follow or subscribe to them as well, and we greatly appreciate it when you do. Of course, this show is the longest-running continuous sponsor. This show does have the longest-running continuous sponsor of a podcast. That's our good friends at GoDaddy. And you can save large by going over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. This is where the savings begin. You can start saving with GoDaddy immediately by utilizing one of my promo codes. We got the best deals in the space, whether it be a penny for a new .com, $1.99 a month for economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. Again, $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year, again with a free domain name. This is the way to go. Get yourself online. Grab that $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. You're good. $24. Essentially $24 to get online for the first year. $36 for that managed WordPress hosting. I like that one a lot. Or a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. You are supporting this show. Your purchase of a GoDaddy product or service using one of my promo codes or sharing that promo code with a friend, family member, someone you know, is like writing a check to this show. Please do that. Everyone's talking about building a website. If they're not, then you should suggest it to them. Again, your support keeps this show online, keeps electricity paid, keeps my insurance paid, rent, everything that goes along with running a podcast in the way that I do. And we definitely appreciate all of you that support our sponsor. Again, the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. And if you believe it or not, think about it. They came on board June of 2005. I'll let you do the math on that. They've been here for a while, so definitely support them. And I guess all those codes do work that are on the website. So how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're had a great weekend. I got up really early this morning because I had to go into Battle Creek to the VA for blood tests, blood work. I was there at 7 a.m. when they opened the door. Then I was able to get out of there in 15 minutes and shoot back here and be ready for my first morning meeting. And it was busy. Hey, Darren, thanks for checking in on YouTube. We have to appreciate it when folks say hi. Thanks, Darren, for that. But yeah, I just had to. Then it was back here for meeting after meeting and a busy day because I have to head to Columbus very early tomorrow morning because I'm doing construction work. I'm basically tearing the rest of the office down. And then we're putting remaining furniture into a storage unit on Wednesday. 2 different storage units, one for the furniture that is still for sale, and then another storage unit for where we're going to have all our trade show supplies and everything else that we're not getting rid of. So that's all going to happen on Wednesday. Then if we get the spackling done and everything tore down, we'll be out of there Thursday morning, and I'll be back here for the show. So again, headed to Columbus very, very early tomorrow morning. So hey, I want to bring something up. Did you all pay attention to the last show and the show notes? So I'm almost afraid to tell the secret of what I'm doing here because I'm using 2 tools to derive the show notes. What I do with the first section, I'll just tell you what I do with the first section, and I think it can figure that out. I'm using ChatGPT to write a summary of the key article that I'm sharing, and then I edit that. And then the second part is new, and this is a new secret weapon that I found. I'm using a plugin called Web Pilot with ChatGPT 4. And what Web Pilot is doing is it's given me the ability to have it point towards the transcript of the show. And it analyzes the transcript and it gives me a kind of a short summary. It's not everything, but it is kind of a cool way to get a summary of just a little more meat for the show notes. Now, it was writing it in third person. So I got to do a little testing with the commands I give it when I try it tonight. But if you haven't had a chance to delve and look at the latest show notes on the website, this is a combination of tools, and of course, using Midjourney for the imagery. It's adding about an additional 20 minutes to my show production. But I think the output is much better. Time will tell as we move through this, but it really is doing a summary of the original content of this show. So I'm pretty excited about what this tool is capable of, and things are just going to get better with time. So take a look at episode 1680 and let me know, which is last Thursday's show, July 13th, and let me know what you think and give me some feedback. I definitely appreciate it. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com is the place to send the email to the podcast. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the stack of stuff tonight, and pretty good content. The first one up is kind of this mysterious, where they found a hot spot on the moon's dark side, and this was actually written by Universe Today. And the rocks beneath an ancient volcano on the moon's far side remain surprisingly warm, scientists have reviewed using data from orbiting Chinese spacecraft. The findings, which appeared last week in the journal Nature, help explain what happened long ago beneath an odd part of the moon. The study also highlights the scientific potential of data gathered by China's space program and how researchers in the United States have had to circumvent obstacles to use that data. But essentially, it's warmer in one spot, remarkably so. So the question is, on the far side of the moon, is there an alien base there? That is the question. I don't, it's kind of fun, there's always been mysteries on the far side of the moon. And, but Universe Today believes that this can help scientists better understand the moon's past. And what makes this finding unique is the source of the hotspot isn't active volcanism, such as molten lava, but from radioactive elements within the now solidified rocks that was once molten lava billions of years ago. So now we have a radiation worry beneath the surface, which is kind of interesting, and it should make people go, just a little bit, because those types of elements are very rare and, of course, very hard to mine to begin with, but might, it could speed up things as far as, they've always said that the moon would be a great place to mine. And I think, what is going on? Why is my mouse not moving? This is, okay, so, now we're going to have a show emergency if this mouse doesn't come on. Let me see. Is this mouse working? Why is this mouse not working here? I know the batteries are fresh in it because I put batteries in it recently, but maybe it's still on. Ugh. Without a mouse, I cannot, and it acts like it's not even on this page. There it is. What is going on? Okay. We'll figure that out on the next show, or before the next show. Next article up is from a Business Insider. They're saying that Gen Z is headed for a career calamity. And bosses are excited about ChatGPT, but we know that a lot of tasks are mundane tasks. And I know that that's what I've been using ChatGPT for is mundane tasks. But who is given mundane tasks? It's often given to new hires with the expectation that they be done quickly, done right, and done without anyone needing to really explain how to do them. And while tackling grunt work and hoping to learn a job isn't a great way to start a career, it is what happens, though, right? And over the past several decades, though, many companies have gutted training programs, neglected mentorship, and taken no responsibility for fostering worker development. Now, with the advent of generative AI, organizations are starting to automate many junior tasks, stripping away those dubious last attempt to teach young employees. And it's no wonder that several surveys have found that members of Gen Z are particularly concerned about AI's effect on their career. And America's young workers are headed towards a career calamity that may be more comfortable using ChatGPT and other AI technology than their older coworkers, but the managerial obsession with artificial intelligence threatens to undermine their ability to launch a career. Management spent decades disconnecting themselves from the younger workers who are the backbone of their businesses. And if these executives already won't train their junior employees, it's no surprise they're ready to get rid of them altogether, because no one, again, wants to teach anymore. Now, Gen Z, according to Business Insider, is already behind the 8 ball because of the cost of college, they're coming with large student debt, and millennials will have 50,000 less debt than Gen Z. And the number of jobs requiring a college degree has grown for decades. Even searching for a first job can leave Gen Zers scratching their heads. A LinkedIn analysis of 3.8 million job postings found that 35% of entry-level jobs required at least 3 years' experience. And once young workers do finally break in, they face another brutal career reality. Companies have no interest, apparently, in helping them move up the career ladder. So The U.S. Department of Labor found in 2014 that while 70% of firms offered some type of trainings, it was mainly for management and mid-level workers. This is particularly worrying partly because some type of the training is extremely vague and could refer to something as simple as reading the HR handbook. So people are saying, why train when you can just plug it in, aka AI? So we'll see what happens. And of course, AI is already beginning to take jobs from workers of all ages, but corporate America in particular is saying for some of its workers will hit entry level workers the hardest. This does not have a bright future for Gen Z workers. But I think companies that want to foster young folks are going to do fine. You know, some young people come to the table with fantastically good ideas and basically a new perspective and what's happening in the world that older folks may not be really worried about and need to be paid attention to. But so we'll see what happens with this. But this is a pretty brutal outlook from Business Insider on Gen Z. Thread users are already spending less time in the app. So Meta Threads is coming back down to earth after a blockbuster first weekend. Oh, by the way, I did, and I didn't really know I was doing it. And I finally realized I didn't really have to do it. I claimed my name on Threads, but I haven't posted anything or done anything else. But I guess you didn't have to claim your name. It's the same as your Instagram name. So there was really no reason to even claim my name. But Threads saw daily active users decline from 49 million on July 7th to 23.6 million on July 14th. And they saw usage decline from 21 minutes per day to just over 6 minutes in the same period. This is based on Android users. In a thread post on Monday, Instagram's top exec suggested the company wasn't particularly focused on engagement metrics at this stage. He said, our focus right now is not engagement, but getting past the initial peak and trough to see where every new product and building new feature, dialing performance, improving ranking, blah, blah, blah. But what's really is the deal is businesses have not been able to target people yet because there's no logo. You're seeing a raw feed, I guess, of people that you follow, which is interesting considering that everywhere else you don't get fed everything of the people you follow, even on Twitter. So Threads are, again, had a little bit of a decline. But, it's easy to onboard folks because of the Instagram nature. Everyone that was an Instagram user essentially got 10 invites each. So, because, it was just basically this big smorgasbord. So now we'll see what really happens. Now, Elon Musk, on the other hand, is rooting for safe superintelligence at his new startup, XAI. And during a discussion, Musk and staffers of his new startup spoke in lofty terms about the mission. Though it does not have a product, the startup unveiled a new website this week. The plan is to build a good AGI with the overarching purpose of just trying to understand the universe. Later, he said, I guess you could reform the XAI mission statement as what the hell is really going on? That's our goal. The concept of AGI technology is to be able to understand or learn tasks that humans can. Has delighted and terrified scientists, even though it's only theoretical. On Friday, his new employees were bullish on the tech. Gregory Yang, a former Microsoft corporate engineer, comparing the current state of AI development to the invention of quantum physics and general relativity. At times during the conversation, some of Musk's statements bordered on outlandish. He said, why is there not massive evidence of aliens? He asked at one point. I agree. Musk has also had a famously hot and cold relationship with AI. And the 12 staffers of XAI, including Musk, are all men, which is interesting, and all have a background in the industry. A majority previously worked at Alphabet, Google, and DeepMind in some capacity. So one concern in this has been the relative concentration of AI research. One XAI staffer, Kyle Kozik, formerly in OpenAI, said he was looking forward to more competition in the field. So he doesn't like monopolization. So there's what it really is, ladies and gentlemen, is there is a piles and mountains of money that are going into AI startups. That's what it's all about. YouTube Music has a solution for its latest UI change. Users can now easily dismiss the song's queue as part of a new update. So I guess if you're queuing something and you want to dismiss it as junk, you can do so. As the name implies, it dismisses the songs being played and further clears the queue. The update includes a button dubbed Dismiss Queue in the overflow menu from the now playing pane, which when clicked will dismiss the current queue. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, he said that 3 times. So anybody using YouTube Music at all? This podcast is on YouTube Music. You can find it there in the podcast section. There's been a Pixel 8 Pro leak detail alleged its full spec ahead of the Google announcement. They're pointing toward an upgraded 6.7-inch QHD plus LTPO LED display. Camera leaks remain consistent with a 50-megapixel primary lens, a 64-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 48-megapixel telephoto lens. Temperature sensor is also expected, letting users gauge their internal temperature to assess for a possible fever. The Pixel 8 Pro's rumored to deliver 12 gigs of RAM for both its 128 and 256 storage variants, a 4950 milliamp hour battery with faster 27-watt wired charging capabilities, and Android 14 as expected. So more details if you are a Pixel user. Got a bunch of articles from makeuseof.com. I'll kind of flash through these real quick here. I won't go into too much detail, but 7 ways to protect your computer from humidity. You live somewhere where it's super humid? You know, I have, and I've never really find humidity to be an issue, to be kind of honest with you. But it gives you some good things to look at. Also, some information about Twitter's ad revenue sharing scheme and how much you can earn from it. Well, this one here, you might be surprised. Oh, I can earn money from my tweets? Well, yeah, if you're a rock star. You need to be a Twitter Blue. You need to pass a human review. Users must hit at least 5 million impressions a month for the last 3 months, adding up to 15 million impressions. And you need to have a Stripe account for payouts. So you have to have at least 5 million impressions a month. This show and me, I'm not going to be getting paid any time soon. Also, are you getting ready to buy a new laptop? Do you have some questions about it? You know, definitely what's your budget? And there's a whole bunch of things. Is it going to be Mac? Is it going to be PC? What kind of hardware? What kind of connections? That's all covered in one of these articles as well. But interesting, there's another article about why you shouldn't buy a Tesla. And they actually go into some things that aren't talked about very much. Talk about build quality issues. They talk about there's more affordable options. They talk about not enough Tesla service centers, and of course, no traditional dealer network and so forth, and some things about brakes and that type of thing. So my link will be up in the show notes for that. And, you know, the ChatGPT thing is really on right now as far as, people giving suggested on prompts. And this, to me, this article, give us some instructions on how to ask the questions. Just don't give us questions asked GPT. Okay, here's a question they've asked. I've been struggling to read a new book. Can you help me stay focused on this task? That was actually one of the pieces in the article here. And they just show the ChatGPT output. Why? Of course, they do an image of it. There's a thing for seeking motivation, deep work, productivity tools, productivity plan. A lot of this stuff is common sense. Come on. You're really going to ask ChatGPT for some of these types of simple life questions? I don't know. Again, if you're watching live today, make sure you check in and say hello. We definitely appreciate it when you do. Thanks, Mom, for checking in. She said the answer is yes. I'm not sure what the question what the response to that was. I missed it. I'm sorry. Being reported that Twitter staff in Africa say they've been ghosted and haven't received their promised severance pay months later. So this is just some more people that are disgruntled and not happy. Twitter cut almost all of its African workforce based in Ghana in November. They've said they haven't been given their severance pay they were promised. So they've been literally ghosted. So this is an ongoing trend, obviously. So there's an article on PC World talking about 3 reasons why you should still buy a hard drive, not an SSD, a regular hard drive. I don't even have to read the article. Number 1, cheaper. Number 2, cheaper. Number 3, cheaper than SSDs. That's you need a lot of storage. Physical hard drives are still good. Now, if you buy an SSD, they're going to cost about double. And when the bigger they get, triple and quadruple the price. So, it's definitely cheaper. And, you can get a 22 terabyte hard drive right now. And of course, an SSD is never a bad choice. They're probably good, but at the same time, SSDs have a tendency not to last forever either. All right. So always have a good backup have a RAID system with hard drives in it with another backup drive you basically have a good backup plan, cold storage, all that stuff. We've talked about that many, many times here. But a Samsung 4 terabyte SSD drive is about $400. It's not cheap. You can get many more terabytes just by buying a physical hard drive still. Over at space.com, there's been some scientific research on why and how Mars got some of its deep gullies. And basically, they think it's based upon the tilt of Mars, because Mars has a varying tilt axis, which is kind of interesting considering Earth doesn't have that. But that's what they predict, is the tilt axis was different, and when there was water on Mars or whatever was flowing on the surface, that's what could have caused it, because there was potentially no tidal shifts because of no moon. So anyway, link will be in the show notes for you to review and see that. If you have a 2007 iPhone in a drawer somewhere in its original box, and it happens to be the 4 gig model, which was a lot of storage back then, it sold for one of them sold for $190,000 at auction. That's a rare piece of memorabilia. If you had known that less than 20 years later, you could have got $190,000 for an investment of $599. This is amazing. So link will be in the show notes. You want to check that out. Go digging through see what you've got. I don't know what a used one is fetching. Hey, Rick, how you doing? Rick says the reason for my going SSD is because I often travel with them between work and home. Oh, I agree. If you're going to have a laptop and you're going to be moving back and forth, an SSD is the way to go. But for home backup storage long-term, can't beat a regular hard drive. LG plans to add subscription features to TVs and appliances. They're seeing record revenues, but plans to go higher. And they made $66.8 billion in revenue in 2022. And that's not enough for the South Korean electronic creator. They want to have beefier sales by 2030. And they're going to look at subscription services. And apparently some people are not happy about that. They're going to put stuff behind a paywall. So we're all just going to be paying more as they nickel dime us to death. Stable Doodle AI is a tool that can turn your scribbles into real art. Now, I had to try this because I am definitely not inclined when it comes to being able to draw stuff. And I think I'm going to try this because, as an example, the other day, I had to stick draw a new interface page for a new product we're bringing to my company at Blueberry. And I just, real quickly knocked it out. I hand drawed it out and put some lines and some notes. I wonder if how that would work. I've got those sheets scanned, so I might have to play around with it. But again, the example they're giving is a picture of a dog. And so maybe I'll try to draw a Star Wars something to that effect. So Stable Doodle AI. And a quick and sloppy doodle on my iPad resulted in an above set of rendered AI images, at least one of which wouldn't get a second glance as a bit of corporate art in an office or on a greeting card. Stability AI says that anyone with basic drawing skills and online access can generate high-quality original images in seconds. Claim seems to hold true, but the tool isn't as wide open as it initially seems. In addition to base image, Stable Doodle asks for a text prompt to generate images, a sort of hint for the AI system. If it can tell your Picasso scribble is supposed to be Don Quixote, delivery skipping the text prompt made my doggy look like a kind of slightly unsettling mismatch. So anyway, link will be in the show notes for you to check that out. Windows users, you're going to love this. You ever got to the point where you had a Windows update go sideways or any update go sideways and you've had to go to recovery mode and the recovery wasn't completely there and you just end up in having to reset the PC? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the worst nightmare of them all. So they have something that's called Fix Problems Using Windows Update. It says reinstall your current version of Windows. Your apps, files, and settings will be preserved. So if you have an update that goes sideways, they're going to bring this to Windows 11. So this is part of a developer version that they're testing. So pretty slick to be able to recover your system without having to recover the whole system. That was one of my headaches with Windows machines. Whenever I had one go sideways, of course, it's no different with a Mac. You have a Mac go sideways, you have to recover. But luckily, if you have everything in the iCloud, most of it gets recovered pretty quickly. So interesting move here by Microsoft. A popular life-saving diabetes app is working again for those of you that are type 1 diabetics, or even though we're lucky enough to get a type 2 monitoring. Freestyle LiberLink app was offline. And basically that was the thing that measured for those folks that wear the little monitor on their skin someplace where they can tap it and see what their sugar levels are at. It was offline for a bit and people had to resort to manual testing. And the National Health NHS says there's 200,000 people using those types of sensors in the UK. But apparently there was some sort of bug. And it's not good when something went sideways. So an update caused it to stop working. So I think they'll be doing a little better beta testing next go around before they do an upgrade. But the problem was they told them to upgrade, but the upgrade had been pulled from the Apple Store, which caused a bit of a nightmare for people. So if you were affected, I'm sure it was a very, very scary 12 hours. So Mac OS Sonoma Password Manager will finally work with browsers other than Safari. So if you don't want one data breach to upend your life, you probably use different passwords for different websites and applications. Keeping those passwords organized is a whole other beasts, which is why features like Apple's iCloud chain exist. With iCloud Keychain, you can easily input your credentials across mobile application without manually checking. I am now using 1Password. The next Mac OS suspected ring change to that. Mac OS Sonoma, the beta for which is entered into public testing, integrates iCloud Keychain with third-party browsers like Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and more. The pairing is courtesy of an update to iCloud's password, a Chrome extension previously issued by Apple to bring iCloud Keychain to support to Windows. According to Apple software engineer manager Rick Mandello, the update allows macOS users who prefer a third-party browser to enjoy iCloud Keychain. Oh, that's interesting. Once they've updated to Sonoma. So macOS Sonoma password manager will finally work with browsers other than Safari. I guess they're tired of giving headway over to LastPass, 1Pass, and all those other folks. So how many of you actually use Safari? I think that's probably why they're doing it. Not too many people do. Ford is giving the F-150 Lightning a big price cut. I think this is a sign of the times and things to come based on interest rates. They say it's because we have enough trucks. Well, they have trucks sitting on lots everywhere. My local Ford dealer here has probably 30 F-150s sitting on the lot. I didn't look for Lightnings. I did look around at panel vans and that kind of stuff. Those suckers are expensive too. But they've dropped the price of the F-150 Lightning from between $6,000 and $9,800 from SRP. Don't buy a new vehicle right now. Don't buy another vehicle right now. Prices are going to come down. Lots are full. They're going to be stuck with inventory. So just be aware. It's going to happen across all models, all manufacturers. They have a glut of vehicles. In a truly fascinating article from Ars Technica, former astronaut says it's extremely important to study artificial gravity. And he talks about his time on the International Space Station. And at one time, there was supposed to be a module called CAM that the Japanese were building that was going to be doing artificial, basically something that would rotate to put a little bit of G on people. And it never happened. The centrifuge accommodations module never was canceled in 2005. So they're talking now about what are we going to do? How are we going to test this? Well, it might come to SpaceX and bringing some stuff to orbit to be able to do some things that would test artificial gravity because of bone loss, bone density, muscle loss, all those things that happen when people stay in space for extended periods of time, where they lose between 1 and 1.5% of mineral density per month during space flight. And that's why you see all these guys exercising so much. You're going to go to space, you're going to have to exercise, because if you don't, you won't be able to walk. And it's a big issue. So just keeping some G's on the body could lessen that. So this is a great article by Ars Tech. Musk admits advertisers haven't returned to Twitter. Ad revenue is down 50%. Twitter still has a negative cash flow despite Musk predicting profits last quarter. And for Lorraine checking in, say thank you so much for checking in. Baina, thanks for checking in, saying hello. Thanks for watching the show tonight. I appreciate it. But again, Twitter has a negative cash flow, and he says we're still negative due to 50% drop in advertising plus heavy debt load. Need to reach positive cash flow before we have the luxury of anything else, he wrote on Saturday. Another tweet, Musk said that Twitter did not see the increase in advertising revenue that was expected, but July is looking a bit more promising. Musk gave a much more optimistic update on cash flow and advertiser interview with the BBC 3 months ago. We could be profitable or to be more size cash flow positive this quarter if things keep going well. But again, got a lot of debt. They've cut a lot of cost. They've cut a lot of services. So we'll see. We'll see if Twitter survives. We will see. According to the Register, 1 in 4 Brits are playing with generative AI, and some take its word as gospels. Employees are kicking back and letting chatbots do the work. Almost 1 in 2 humans have no 1 in 4 have dabbled with generative AI and believe its responses are always bang on the money. Be careful with that. Consulting giant Deloitte spoke to 4,150 adults in the UK, average between 60 and 75, creating a picture of how generative LLMs are perceived. Some 52% had heard of the technology, 26% they used it, with 43% of those mistakenly assuming that it always produces factual, accurate answers. Again, feeding it good information often helps you get good output. So, Google has told its own staff, though, not to reveal confidential information to Bard. So that's kind of interesting information. Don't tell Bard critical, confidential information because it's going to learn on it. Yep. In June, a threat intelligence group found ChatGPT credentials in some 100,000 Stealer logs being traded in the dark web. By default, ChatGPT stores users' queries. We all know about that. So just be careful out there what you're doing and make sure you authenticate. Don't have a username password. Make sure you authenticate with something a little more aggressive like your Google account or something to that effect. Samsung's Viewfinity S9 5K display will cost $15.99 when it arrives in August. Now, here's the thing. Good monitors are expensive, especially color-graded monitors cost a lot of money. And when you're talking about a 5K monitor that's going to be $15.99, you can almost be certain it's going to be a color-graded monitor that is going to be fantastic for you, those of you that are doing photo editing and that type of stuff. But the company's has a 99% DCI-P3 and 221 pixels per inch. And of course, you can calibrate the monitor through SmartThings app in either basic mode, which adjusts gamma settings, and white balances, or professional mode, which controls the luminance and color temperature of space. It includes a 4K camera. See, that's what I'm saying. This is a big deal. I bet it's going to be absolutely beautiful. At $15.99, it should. But not going to be one that everyone is going to want to buy for sure at that cost. Meta is facing a $100,000 daily fine if it does not fix privacy issues in Norway. So if the company doesn't take remedial action, it's going to be fined 1 million crowns per day from August 4th until November 3rd. It is so clear that it is illegal that we need to intervene now and immediately, said Tobias Juden, head of Norway's Privacy Commission. The move follows the Supreme Court ruling banning Meta from harvesting user data like location, behavior, and more for advertising. And they referred to its actions in the Europe's Data Protection Board, which could widen the fine across Europe. Meta told Reuters that it's reviewing the decision from Data Telsinet, and the decision wouldn't be immediate impact to its service. We continue to constructively engage with the Irish DPC, our lead regulator in the EU, regarding compliance with its decision. Spokesperson said the debate around legal basis has been ongoing for some time. And of course, Meta is facing pressure across Europe over its data privacy actions. Can you imagine if we got that type of data privacy here in the United States? I don't think it'll ever happen. Facebook and Apple and everyone else pays too much money to politicians. I don't think we'll ever get the level of privacy that folks in the EU get. Russia has banned Apple devices for state officials. The country's intelligence agency claimed it uncovered an iPhone spying operation. This is interesting. As of Monday, the country's trade minister prohibited the use of iPhones for all work purposes. Other agencies, include Russia's telecommunication and mass media minister, either have similar mandates already in place or plan to enforce soon. The ban comes after Russia's Federal Security Service claimed the start of June it uncovered a spying operation by U.S. intelligence agencies involving Apple devices. The FSB said thousands of iPhones, including those in use by the country's diplomatic missions in NATO countries, had been infected. Keyword is infected with monitoring software. The FSB claimed without showing evidence that Apple had closely worked with U.S. signal intelligence to bribe agents with a wide range of control tools. The company denies this. This move comes when Russia is also trying to reduce its dependence on foreign-made tech. Now, knowing Apple, I think this would come as a surprise if they had co-opted into providing some backdoor into an Apple device. Now, that said, would I put it past U.S. intelligence agencies to try to co-opt a mobile phone? Not in the least. So, but I don't think Apple would have ever helped. I just don't think so. Millions of sensitive U.S. military emails were reportedly sent to Mali due to a typo. Well, military email goes to .mil. And if you enter anything but a .mil, like a .ml on a government device and try to send it, it won't send it. But people on the outside sending email to a .mil address, which would work if you know somebody in the military, you can send a email from your Gmail account to that .mil, no problem. It'll go through. But if you send it to .ml, it goes to Mali. And sadly, Mali is pretty tied up with the Russians right now. So I don't think you want to be sending a sensitive email from your personal address to the Russians, or even a personal one if you're sending a family member an email or something of that sort. Make sure that you're using .mil if you're sending to a military person. That way you make sure that it will get there, all right? Don't send it to Navy.com. Don't send it to Army.com. That won't get there. All right, that's going to bring us to the end of today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I want to make sure that you know how to reach me, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on Twitter. Of course, on Mastodon, I'm @geeknews, @geeknews.chat. Do not forget, we have been lit and live, and let me see if we've had any boosts come in. Actually, I know we did. We had some the other day, so let me read those to you. I want to thank Scott for it's the Boob Boost for 8,008 sats. Thank you so much. And I think I already read that one, but you guys are definitely supporting the show when you're listening to just like that, when you're listening to this podcast live, we get one of those every minute. Brian has been listening. Dave's been listening. Who else has been listening? I'm going to drive you guys crazy here. But anyway, so we got people listening by the minute, boosting by the minute. We appreciate when they do. Again, you can participate in this Value for Value program by going to podcastapps.com. Get yourself a modern podcasting app. If you get set up, let me know your Lightning address. And when you do, I will award you some Satoshis that you can use to boost or to live stream Satoshis to a show of your choice that is participating in the Value for Value system. Free way to get some money. All you got to tell me is, yes, Todd, I am using a new modern podcasting app. Here is my Lightning address, whether it be Alby or Fountain or wherever it may be. Give me that address. I will send you some sats, and you can put those in your wallet and use those to support other shows and to experiment and play with this new model. If I've provided you value today, we appreciate any value back, either through PayPal, through fiat funds via the donation link on the website at geeknewscentral.com/insider. You can send on-chain as well there. Definitely, we want you to participate. It's all about engagement. It's not all about the money. It's about engagement, and it's a great way to engage with the show when, again, you're using one of these modern new podcasting apps. It's been my pleasure to bring you a show. Again, we've been live and lit. We'll be off here. If everything goes well, I will be back for a Thursday show. That is my plan, is to be back here. We got a lot of work to do in the next 2 days, so I'm going to be I'm taking working clothes. I'm not wearing office clothes because we got to tear some furniture down and move, and gloves and tools and spackle stuff. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So one other team member's coming in. Mike's coming in from Traverse City. So we'll both be on the road tomorrow morning to get in. And then the work begins to be ready for the movers and the truck Wednesday, midday. Everyone, thanks for being here. We'll see you hopefully Thursday on the Geek News Central podcast. Everybody take care. We'll see you next time.